So the band starts the sound check. As Guy mentioned, it sounds really good. A few extra people file in, and we're getting the sense that everybody else there has indicated that they are, in fact, guests of the band's. We're not. But we're just playing it cool, I'm not running up for an autograph. We talked about going up to the stage to say hello. We didn't do it.
Right.
We just hung back, and we appreciated the fact that we were in this space and probably shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
And we were just grateful.
Yeah. And further to that point of not approaching the stage and saying hello to the guys, once it appeared as if it were an understanding that we were already, quote unquote, with the band, at least in the eyes of the management of the hall. I didn't want to appear as if we were just a couple of fanboys.
Absolutely,
coming, saying,
absolutely.
Hey guys.
And this was a problem for me once the band really got into their sound check, because as they would play tunes and pieces of songs that I was familiar with, I wanted to be like moving along and whatnot. And
right.
I said to you at one point, should I not be dancing or whatever? I mean, I look like a friggin', I don't want to give it away. If I were with the band, I wouldn't be moving along to them sound checking.
Right, or you wouldn't think you would anyway. Although you probably would, once in a while. I know I would. I mean, if I...
So we don't know. We don't know if somebody who works for the band would be rocking out as they sound check.
Right.
But I didn't want to give anything away.
Exactly.
And we talked about, oh man, we should have said hello, we should have this, we should have that. We didn't. And part of us, I regret that a little bit, but I don't like to impose. I want you to know I love you and appreciate you, and I want this special extra bonus that nobody else is getting to take advantage of, and yada, yada, yada. But I don't want to be a pain in anybody's ass.
No, exactly. And at this point, as far as I was concerned, I already felt that, in a way, Rich and I were getting a little more than those who had paid for the exact experience that we did were going to get. Because they had already been, kindly asked to wait outside until the doors were open, and here we are, hanging out for another good 20, 30 minutes, watching the band do their thing, while everyone else who paid for the tickets that we had on our persons, but were never asked to produce, we're getting, all kinds of extra time with the band.
Right.
But it was cool. It was nice being able to just... sit back and watch guys who we've admired over the years do their thing. These guys are pros, and this is what they do for a living. This is how they get ready before they go to work,
right,
so to speak.
Right. And I'm looking out for things like, what's the vibe like between Jason and Matt? I don't know the details of that history. As I said before, I know people have come and gone. I think Matt left after the Lizard, before Water, or sometime in that process. Some of the guys have come back and left again. I'm glad the band exists. I'm glad the core is there. There's always this thing about how people want to see the original lineups. I appreciate everybody who's been in and out of the band, but I was interested in seeing what the vibe there might have been like, and it was fine. And it's probably worth mentioning at this point that the current lineup consists of Jason Bieler, Matt Kramer, Chris McLernan, Stephen Gibb, and Jonathan Mover. So those are the 5 guys that are currently in the band. As they wrap up their sound check and some of the opening acts begin to go up and prepare, the guys from Saigon Kick now make their way into this area where we've been standing. So during this sound check process, eventually VIP opens and other people join us. And nobody's right up against the stage or anything. Everybody's sort of back and not sure what to do. Yeah. Aside from this one guy who kept talking about how it's been 4 years since you were last here, Jason.
He really was. He was driving home the fact that it's been a good 4 years since they've been around, or at least since he had seen them.
Right. And I don't know who was in the band at that time.
Right, yeah, nor do I.
And I don't know that matters. Yeah, but
yeah. And again, I'm going to point out real quick that even at this point now, where the band are coming out and are giving the VIP people the quote unquote meet and greet that they've paid for, Rich and I still have this feeling of like not wanting to give away the fact that we aren't with the band because we don't want to appear like a couple of fanboys.
Right. Now I have legitimate tickets to this VIP experience. I'm looking at them on my laptop screen right now. I printed them out before the show. I can probably dig up a receipt. I paid for 2 VIP experience tickets. I was never asked to produce them. But I still, for some reason, felt like I was doing something wrong and that at any moment I was going to be asked to get out or my VIP privileges were going to be revoked. Something like this.
Right.
And the VIP people have shown up. There aren't a lot of them, which is not a reflection on the band. There were a limited number to begin with.
Yes.
They were almost all gone, if not gone, by the time of the show.
Yes.
And I think the first guy to come out of the backstage area was Stephen Gibb.
Yes.
Okay. So Stephen comes out. He says hello. He moves on, and then I see Jason. Jason, so like I'm shitting now because I know, I've been following Jason's music with Owl Stretching.
Sure.
I loved Water. I loved Devil in the Details. For me, once Matt left the band, Jason's voice was the one I knew.
Yeah.
For me, in a way, he has been the heart and soul. I don't mean any offense to anybody else in the band. For me, Jason sort of has been the heart and soul of keeping the Saigon Kick band and brand going.
Yes, I agree.
So he comes out with this, these phenomenal beards that he's been wearing these days, and he says hello. And it's like, we still don't know how this is going to happen. They come out, they shake a hand, they keep moving. And it's almost like they're waiting for you to, like, they shake your hand and they say hello, and there's a pause.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk? I'm like thinking to myself, he's got like, 20, 30 people to say hello to. They're waiting for us to, how you doing?
Yeah.
What's so at first, again, I'm a little starstruck. I'm a little shy about this process. And I think Stephen, Jason, and then eventually Matt comes out. Chris was setting some stuff up on stage. I don't particularly remember him coming out for the meet and greet. He did eventually.
Yes.
And Jonathan couldn't because Jonathan was out taping for Seth Meyers.
Yes, that's right.
Myers or Meyer?
Myers.
Seth Meyers, late night.
Yep. Late night with Seth Meyers. Whatever it is, folks, it was the spot that Conan O'Brien originally had, and then went to Jimmy Fallon, and then went to Seth Meyers. So whatever that time slot is,
not the Tonight Show.
No, it's
late
the time
night
slot. Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
So Jonathan Mover from Saigon Kick and from a number of other bands, with a lot of other credentials, was the guest drummer. Was the guest, musician on Seth Meyer all week?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Especially while the band was in town.
Exactly.
Okay. So we didn't get to meet him at first, but there was a young man, I think, from the club, who
I think, and we still don't know who he is.
Somebody.
No, he is with. He's either with the band or he is a student or some type of a tech/roadie for Jonathan himself.
Okay.
And I only know that because I picked up on some dialogue between he and the band. Now, this kid who looks like he's all of, 17, 18 years old, for all we know, he's 30 years old.
No. He was not 17, 18 years old.
No, he was, all right, maybe 14, 15, but no younger.
No, he was in his 20s at least.
I know. I jest. At any rate, this kid clearly, who is not the drummer of the band or not playing drums for the band, was just filling in during sound check and doing a pretty darn good job, I will say.
He was great. They kept saying he's never played these songs before. I asked you, could he really be just learning these?
Which he could have, but
it's more likely he had heard them,
yes,
but never played them.
Yes.
Okay.
And there was a brief line of dialogue between he and I want to say Chris, that something along the lines of, I only know it's a 7/8 time signature, or when he plays it, it's a 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4. He was speaking as if he was familiar with the tune and familiar with the way it's played by the actual drummer of the band,
Okay.
but wasn't positive, like a note for note type thing,
Okay.
you know. So yeah, so he definitely had heard the songs before, but he did a great job, you know, filling in.
Yeah, he was great. The band seemed very pleased, and I only bring that up as I'm reviewing who came out for the meet and greet and all. So we didn't meet Jonathan. We saw this great kid filling in. The band promised us Jonathan would be by later on and ready
Yep.
for the set.
Yep.
And all that was well and good. We watched the guys work the room. Eventually. Well, Matt was like 2 feet away from us, and we never said hello to him. He had people waiting to talk to him, and I
Yes.
felt a little shy about interrupting. But eventually, Jason and Steven did work their way back in our direction, and we were able to grab a nice photo with them. So there's a group shot of the four of us up on Facebook. Maybe when I'm putting this all together, maybe there's a way that I can either include that as the cover of the podcast episode or work it into some YouTube version of this.
Yeah,
you know.
something, yeah.
But we got a nice photo with the guys. Steven was super friendly. Steven Gibb. He took pictures of Guy in his Kiss Sonic Boom T-shirt. I mean, these guys, like, more than one person was like, wow, look at those Kiss shirts.
Yes.
But Steven Gibb from Saigon Kick wanted pictures of you.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So we took pictures with Steven and
even,
Jason.
I'm sorry, and even referred to us as the Kiss guys.
Yeah.
At one point
Yeah.
during the evening, which, and you know, I mean, for those listening that know us, that moment right there was actually special, really special, because not only was this crazy evening, you know, just coming together. This, you know, we were getting to see this band and meet and greet them and not having to produce any tickets and being assumed that we're already with them and so on and so forth. And then one of the guys in the band turns around and refers to us as the Kiss guys. It was just, it was pretty cool.
It was cool.
It was pretty cool.
Steven Gibb did. Tessie Ward did.
Yes.
One of the guys from the opening acts. I mean, these people.
Yes.
And I said to you at one point, I said, I feel, is it like sacrilege? What did I say? Is it,
Yeah, I think
is it
it-
inappropriate or
it-
sacrilegious for me to be wearing somebody else's shirt to this gig? But obviously, when you go to these shows, people are wearing other merch.
And not only that, but those who are anyone in the business or those who, quote unquote, may even belong or appear as though they belong, like apparently we did in the eyes of the management of the place. That's what you do. You don't show up as, you know, number one fanboy with, you know, all the bells and whistles, you know, for the...
Well, if I had a Saigon Kick shirt at the time, I'm sorry,
you
I
know,
don't.
No, listen.
I would've worn it.
We both would be guilty of that.
But they probably would have been like, hey, you.
No, yes. Going back to the original question of are you with the VIP, he probably would have assumed that we were if we had Saigon Kick shirts. It was cool. It was awesome that, for me anyway, a band that I've always likes another band that I really always liked.
Yeah. And not for nothing, folks, but if you're in music, if you're a musician, you're probably a Kiss fan, okay? Plain and simple.
Yeah.
No
True-
exaggeration.
true story.
Okay? As we get older, that might change a little bit, but most people we know, most people we listen to, somebody in the band was a Kiss fan.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
Now, during this VIP experience, we notice that some of the VIPs are wearing bracelets. So now I'm thinking, oh shit, we don't have bracelets. We're going to miss out on some portion of the experience. We're eventually going to get found out. So Guy has a word with Christian again. And it turns out that we can go upstairs, back outside, to this guy who's checking tickets, and we can get those bracelets. Now, I think the cat's out of the bag. As we're going upstairs, I make eye contact with Christian, and I think it's the stink eye. I think he's thinking, yeah, you guys told me you were with the band. But what Guy said to Christian was, hey, should we just get these bracelets so that, how did that go down?
Well, what I off the cuff, I said, listen, I know we can't smoke down here. I'd like to run upstairs, you know, for a cigarette. Should I have the what's his name up at the top of the steps give me a bracelet? He goes, yeah, definitely. Have him give you a bracelet, and you can go right outside and have your cigarette and come back down. I said, okay. And I took that bit of information and immediately turned around to Rich and said, yes, it's okay. We'll go up and we'll get the bracelets so we can go have a cigarette.
Right. Now, Guy is all set. He's done exactly what he needed to do. And me, I'm digging in my pocket to pull these tickets out, which, as I mentioned, are soaking friggin' wet now. So we're on our way up the stairs. Christian gives me the stink eye. We meet this really nice guy who's collecting tickets. And again, his body language said, I get it, you guys just need bracelets.
Yeah.
He didn't want to see my tickets, nothing. And I'm complaining, how'd these tickets get wet? I might not have said tickets, but how did this get, So anyway, we get these bracelets, we go back downstairs, and that's that. So we for all intents and purposes, we look completely legit. We still haven't been asked to produce tickets. The tickets have barcodes. They're scanned once and that's it. Nobody wants. We just are wearing bracelets now so that nobody has to ask later, are these guys okay? Yeah. They all still think
exactly.
We're supposed to be there.
At this point, or actually just before this point, just before we were wondering about what we should do with the bracelet scenario, I said to Rich,
you thought they were for drinks.
No, and I still think they were.
Yeah.
And I think the VIP gimmick was, if you notice, he put a stamp on ours. So either the stamp or the bracelet, one represented that you were A of age, and the other one represented that you were the VIP folks.
Well, my worst nightmare, aside from being found out, whatever that would have meant, because we were legit, was that by not having the bracelets, when the meet and greet went on, the band might, for some reason, pass us up.
Right, yeah, and that we certainly didn't want to have happen, yeah. But fortunately, it turned out that was not the case, and it wasn't needed. I did mention, though, to my cousin that if throughout this evening we are not asked to produce any kind of credentials or tickets, I am going to give you the money for the ticket, because I had offered money beforehand, and my cousin, he was so gracious, said, no, forget about it. We're having a good time. I said, great, that's awesome. At this point, though, I said, listen, if we go the rest of this night and no one asks you for any tickets, I'm giving you money for this ticket, okay? And I'm going to coda back to this a little later on in our story, because something else happened later on in the evening that I ended up paying my cousin in lieu of cash with something, and we'll touch on that later.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but it was pretty funny. It was pretty fun.
Yeah. So I mean, at this point, the meet and greet wraps up. The guys go out to eat, I suppose. We still don't know if we're supposed to stay in the room or not.
Almost everyone left.
Oh, this is true. Yes.
All the quote unquote VIP folks were all asked to leave again, and we were left as if we belonged.
Were they asked to leave?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So I know the band leaves
For all we know, all the VIP people went out and had dinner with the freaking band.
Maybe. It may be. So it seems the band's going out to eat, and the VIPs disappear. I don't remember realizing that they were asked to leave, but we stay, and we watch the opening act sound check.
Yes.
We talked to one of the guitarists who, again, was attracted to our Kiss T-shirts. Yep. And then eventually we met the lovely Ms. Tessie Ward.
Yes.
And her date for the night, George.
Yes, George.
I don't remember George's last name, and that's not appropriate to share that anyway. George, a musician or a composer in his own right. Tessie Ward, I shouldn't have used that. Tessie Ward, both a singer, writer, and a creative, a manager, I believe she not only performs but also works
in A&R, artisan relations.
Yes, okay,
yeah.
right, getting other acts.
She's an A&R
right,
person,
okay.
Yeah. And a sweetheart, an absolute sweetheart.
Yes.
Great lady.
So we hang out with Tessie and George for a while, and we're shooting the breeze, and we're having a great time. She was wonderful. George was wonderful. He played us some of his original music.
Yes.
We talked about a number of things. And now, as we're getting closer and closer to showtime, people are beginning to file into the club. And now the four of us are sort of standing over in this corner where we're watching security pat people down and this, that, and the other thing. And it seems like as people are getting through security and coming into the space, they feel compelled for some reason to acknowledge us.
Yes.
As if to say, like, thanks for having us. I've been checked. Thank you. Okay.
It was comical. Again, sometimes you just give the vibe off that you either belong or you are a part of whatever it is that's going on. Sometimes it's the way you hold yourself. Sometimes it just happens to be where you are standing.
Absolutely.
And in this case, it just may have been where the four of us were standing, and maybe even the way the four of us were conversing.
Tessie and George looked professional and classy. And like they belonged there.
Certainly.
They did not, not for nothing, they didn't look like the typical Saigon Kick fare. Guy and I were wearing T-shirts and jeans and standing there with our arms crossed. It gave something off. Anyway, we got a kick out of it. We said hello to a few people. I think I told one or two people to behave. We tried to have a little bit of fun with it.
Certainly.
And none of this scared Tessie away. She seemed to be having a great time.
Oh, yeah.
So this goes on for a little bit. The opening acts go on. We've taken our jackets off. We've hung our jackets now over the railing where people are entering the club.
Yeah, right there, front entrance.
A front entrance, and we've walked away from the jackets.
Yeah.
Shinobi Ninja went on first.
Were the tickets still in the jackets at this point?
No, before I draped my jacket over the railing, I emptied the pockets.
Okay.
Just in case the jacket disappeared,
Yeah.
I made sure everything was on me.
Right.
Okay.
I didn't. That thought didn't occur to me until well after the fact, and then I realized I had only left a pack of cigarettes and maybe a lighter in my jacket. So.
Speaking of which, we did see a young lady in the club making her way upstairs back outside to smoke what appeared to be a super long
Indeed.
marijuana.
And certain, credit is due. There definitely was time put into the production of that.
Yes, let's just say, I'm still of like the mindset where, like, if I see it in public, I can't believe it's okay in public. And we did not see or smell a lot of any of this. But there were moments. This was the only one I saw with my own eyes. I don't want to make this out to have been like a pot fest or anything like that.
Nothing.
But it was noteworthy that a young woman walked by with a long one that, as you said, looked nicely prepared.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Yeah.
So Shinobi Ninja goes on first. We didn't get close to the stage, but they were good. They were entertaining. The crowd seemed to enjoy them. Not a super large crowd at this point. Midnight Mob went on second. They seemed to have had even more people there to support them.
Certainly.
And they were good and they were fun. Now at this point, I think we did, yes. We between Shinobi Ninja and Midnight Mob, we got close to the stage.
Yes.
Because I wanted to be right up against it when Saigon Kick came out, and I was figuring people would be thinking like me, get up there early and have the spot. I was hoping between acts it would clear out, and now it wasn't terribly dense, but we were 2 or 3 rows of people away from the stage. That's a wonderful thing. I would have liked to have been up against it.
Yeah, right. Between myself and the stage, there was one gentleman, and between yourself, there may have been a gentleman and a half, if you will.
Yeah, there were 2 in front of me.
Okay.
You're right. There was one in front of you. A guy who looked like he brought his sleeping bag and all his shit and was camping out.
Yes, and reminded me of an individual who I believe is employed by the WWE. But I can't be certain.
Okay.
I can't be certain about that.
Hey, Google it. Guy is referring to the guy whose eyeballs almost popped out of his head when the Undertaker's streak ended a couple of WrestleManias ago at the hands of Brock Lesnar. The guy whose eyeballs were popping out appeared to be at this concert. And you've seen him again somewhere that you think WWE is now using him?
If I am not mistaken, I'm 99.9% sure I have seen him at numerous Raws and or SmackDowns, and definitely had at least one or two other pay-per-views since then, most recently WrestleMania 33, and I believe he was wearing a bleach blonde wig, and he was standing front row all the way up top of the ramp where the wrestlers make their entrance to the ring.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
I didn't notice that, but I'll be watching it again with Aiden and Josh, so I'll look for it. And you're welcome to join us.
I'd love to.
Hey, listen, on that note, we're about to wrap up the opening portion of this show and this experience, and we're going to get to the main event. Why don't we take a quick break, and we'll be right back with you. This is Rich and Guy. We're telling you all about Saigon Kick at the studio at Webster Hall.
Rich Masadi. Commercials.
You pay your auto insurance premium every month on the dot. You're like the poster child for paying on time. And in return, for drivers like you with accident forgiveness and no late payments, Farmers won't raise your rates due to your first accident.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Picking a paint color for that special space in your home can be a real beast. Glidden Paint comes to the rescue with only the colors people love to live with. Glidden gets you going. Fact, when you take Advil, you get relief right at the site of pain, wherever it is. Advil stops pain right where it starts. Relief doesn't get any better than this. Advil. With Clorox 2, we've turned removing stains into a science. Watch stains disappear right before your eyes. Remove 4 times more stains than detergent alone. Get new Clorox 2. At Jersey Mike's, we think every sub should have something to say about where it came from, about the people who made it, about how they made it. A sub can say it all without saying a single word. Jersey Mike's, a sub above.